A Knicks hat, Mike?
Oh, welcome everybody to the Rising Tides live show. Thank you, Cali BBQ Media, for giving me a chance to host. This is going to be fun. Today, we're talking about how to write with AI, but not how to write with AI and make general AI slop. We're going to talk about how to write with AI without sounding robotic and without losing your humanity and without sacrificing all the important stuff that makes you human, because emotions are necessary, experience is necessary, you have industry expertise and you're going to use it, and you're not going to crank out junk. So we have a fantastic panel of people here, and I'm gonna kick this off with a question. I'll give you all a minute to think about it. If you had to pick two robots, two AIs from some sort of movie and pair them together, don't pick two in the same movie. Don't do C3PO and R2D2. Who would it be and why? And I want you to tell me how you write with AI. I've got a million ideas and points that will come in here periodically, but how do you use AI in your content creation? What tools do you use? But how do you leverage it? I guess before I kick this off, here's an example. I am in a couple of big writing cohorts, and some of those big digital writers, one of the things they talk about is doing it like a 10-80-10 rule. 10% of the effort is you came up with the idea, you know exactly what you want it to be. I don't know, pick something like you want an 800-word article, you want it to be about this for this client. You give it parameters, you came up with the idea, you hand it off to AI. AI cranks out 80% of the heavy lifting and it puts out a draft for you. The other 10% is you're going to go through it, you're going to proofread it. Don't not proofread. Don't copy and paste. It will shoot you in the foot every time. And then you come up with details you want to change about it. You put it back into AI. You make another draft. Rinse and repeat. So I want to hear how everybody else does this. I know how I do it, and we'll get to that. But let's see. Who's going to kick it off today? I think it should be the man himself. Sean Walchef, you're up.
What's up? Thank you, Eric, for hosting. I appreciate it. If you guys are watching on the live stream, thank you. If you're listening on the podcast, on the digital hospitality feed, thank you for doing that. Please join us on the stage. You can go to podcast.calibbq.media and join. It's better when you're up here, when we learn what you're building, why you're building it. Your first question was what robots, two robots I need to pick from a movie? How many robots are in movies? I mean, like, do we have a list?
Oh,
like that's a tough question to start with.
A lot. Okay. Well,
I have one. I have one robot.
Okay.
One robot is the Wild Robot, which I watched with my son and my daughter. The Wild Robot is a phenomenal movie, and this robot befriends a bunch of animals. He saves the animals. It shows humanity of the robot. So, huge fan of the Wild Robot for any of those that have young children. It's a great movie. What do you want me to do with the robot?
Why would you blend those two robots, and why?
Blending the two robots.
Like, if you could put the brilliance of C3PO in the T1000, he'd be unstoppable. Because like a ripped nerd is, you can't take them down. Come on.
Well, I would take RoboCop and then Wild Robot. So a robot that actually can defend with an empathetic robot.
I dig it.
Does that win? What do I win? Do I win a prize?
Yeah, I get somewhere in my office.
I get a guitar.
I got a big stack of nothing for you. Yeah, you can win the guitar as long as you promise to replace it with something that's not a cheap piece of junk.
Phenomenal. What's the question about AI?
The question is, how do you write with AI? What tools do you use, and what's your thought process in content creation?
So we shared this on a Rising Tides call about voiceovers. I've been doing a lot of voiceovers day in the life of. Just last week missed our Rising Tides call because I was at Super Bowl for Radio Row. So New Media Radio Row. I went up there with David Meltzer, one of my mentors. He's my media mentor. I got to follow him. He's promoting his book, Don't Do Business with Dicks. But we talked about the stage theory. So as I went up there, I didn't have my team. I didn't have Brandon or Tony or any of the video guys that I typically take. If you guys see me in action at Chicago at the National Restaurant Show, I've got a big crew that follows me with cameras. I went by myself. So I only had one pass, and I used what we call smartphone storytelling to take videos of myself talking to camera, videos of the scene, what we were doing, why we were doing it. And then when I got back home, actually, even before I got back home, I sent it to our team, David on our team, to take those clips and then take what I used, which was ChatGPT. I used the paid version of ChatGPT. I also use Gemini, so I use both of those tools interchangeably because sometimes one produces a better result. But I journaled. So I actually went into ChatGPT and talked about everything that I did. I woke up in the morning, I went to sunrise gratitude, I left my friend's house, I went to the Golden Gate Bridge before the sun came up, I went and got my media pass. So I detailed everything into ChatGPT of what I did. And then I asked it, which it's, since it's the paid version, I've been training it for, at least I think I've had the paid version since Bulgaria. So, almost coming up on a year of feeding it meetings that we do, podcasts that we do, calls that we take, voiceovers that I do. And telling it that I need a voiceover for an Instagram reel and I need it 90 seconds or less. Then I get that product back and I read it. I read it aloud, I read it to myself, and then I give it feedback. So I never take the first version of what it sends. I always give it feedback. I'll tell it I need a better hook in the beginning because, as we all know, the first 3 seconds is your Jurassic Park moment where you can show the scary dinosaur of like, why does anyone give a shit about this video immediately? And then we will go through and then ultimately with a takeaway. But there's lots of tools to use to make content creation easier than it would have been before. And I think one of the coolest things for me is just how much AI is helping in that writing process, because it is writing, because ultimately it is captions. But if I don't feed it anything, AI knows nothing of what I did at Super Bowl. They have no idea about Radio Row. They have no idea that I was with David Meltzer, what I was doing with David Meltzer, what celebrities I saw. Like, I have to feed it that information. I have to give it that detail, give it that context. And then specifically, the caption that I'm going to put on LinkedIn is different than the caption that we're going to put on Instagram. 2 different playgrounds, different mindsets. Someone on Instagram is thinking differently than someone on LinkedIn, is different than thinking somebody that's watching it on Facebook. If I post it on X, I have less characters. So all of those things, AI helps me get down to a better version specific to each platform.
I love that. You hit so many of the points that I had like notes here to go over. Yes, iterate. Yes, know exactly how to. I'm gonna rewind. You made one specific point. Know your game. Know your platform. You have to behave differently on X versus Facebook versus LinkedIn and all these different things. And you have to play the AI game right. You have to
don't go on X. It's rubbish.
Are you okay, Richard? What's wrong with your voice?
Opinions from the other side of the pond.
Don't go on X. It's really horrible.
Don't go on X. It's rubbish. Fair enough, Richard.
Segue. Well, all right.
What do you post on Snapchat, Richard?
I'm banned from using it.
You're banned from using Snapchat? That's not good. That's not productive.
Uh-oh. Well, all right. I think we hit a soft spot with Richard. So I think we need to let Richard go next because he's clearly got some fired up opinions. All right, Richard. Who are your 2 bots that you're putting together, and what AI tools do you use, and how do you use them to write content?
We're talking movie robots. I'm going to go with Vanessa Kensington from Austin Powers, played by Elizabeth Hurley, one of the finest examples of an English rose you'll ever see. And Maria from Metropolis. Just because,
wow.
I just think that'd be a really cool robot.
I can't argue. Very unexpected list there, but I love it.
Yes, it was a bit of a shocker in Austin Powers when Vanessa Kensington turned out to be a robot. That was one of the most shocking moments. Spoilers for people that have not seen that film.
When did Austin Powers come out? Was it pre
Didn't
2000?
realize he was gay, Sean.
Oh man, that came out when I was in junior high, I think.
1999, I think.
Wow, taking it all the way back. I love it.
Yeah, one of Britain's finest superheroes. It's I really, it's really funny that you're doing the topic on AI and robots and stuff, because I am so bored of boring AI crap slop social media posts. Like, I'm at my desk regularly going, don't be boring. It just winds me up. It's so boring and it's so obvious. And there's certain people who I know who are using AI to try and talk about topics they have no understanding of. And it's just rubbish. And I think what's really interesting is when AI is used well, you can do fantastic stuff with it. And I think what's happened, and I saw it a few years ago on Clubhouse when a few of the AI tools first came out and everybody was trying to create content for social media, and it was just boring. And it's almost one of those ones where, because I think ChatGPT has gone so mass market, that we are seeing a lot of really, really boring social media content.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are just creating slop. And I think there's also a little bit where it's just rubbish. And I think consumers are getting fed up with it. And I think when you look at your social media feed, you do know the posts that people have put no effort in. And it's annoying. So when I saw the topic, I'm like, oh, I've got to jump on this. And there is that little bit where, yes, I use AI. So I use ChatGPT sometimes to help me with my thinking and with my structure. But without my personality, the content that I put out would be boring. And that's not what people expect from me. That's not what I show other people. So I think AI, I mean, what's brilliant for it is I love it for checking stuff. So I might run stuff through and say, what do you think of this? And I might ask it to explain. So I'm working on a project at the moment where I'm working on something around Porter's five forces. So I use AI to help me understand it, and then I will Richardize it myself. I think I've just invented a word, but I'll bring my own understanding and interpretation to it. And I think there's that little bit where there's that famous expression, when everybody zigs, you need to zag. And I think there is this massive push for AI content. But also I think there's a little bit where if you actually look at the consumers want original stuff. And I'm going to use the A word. They want authentic stuff. And I do think there's a little bit where AI can help you generate the ideas. It can help you generate the structure. It can even help you fact check some of your ideas. But I think for me, it's about how do you bring that personality and how do you bring a bit of love to it? And one of the things that I'm really excited about, I blog every month. And I work on my blogs, and I also work with a copywriter, and we work together. And this year I'm doing like the agony aunt columns in the newspaper or in a magazine. You write in, dear Sean, I've got a problem with my ribeye. What would I do? I've kind of done a spoof version of that and I'm calling it Dear Richard, which is an incredibly original title. There's no way that AI could have brought my voice and my personality to it. It will do in the future, absolutely, but it's not there at the moment. And I think, just a suggestion to my North American friends, right? There should be a war on slop. Seriously, forget all that other crap that you're fighting and getting all het up about. There should be a war on AI slop on social media. And I think as a community, we're responsible for putting good stuff out there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. If you're viewing AI as the easy button way out, if you think AI is just there for you to, okay, I don't have to hire all of these different departments anymore, and I don't have to do XYZ work myself. I can just keep punching this button like a monkey and stuff will come out and it's great and I can just instantly post it. No, wrong. That's how we got slop. And you're right, Richard, we are in a slop war, and I think there is a way to stop it. I think.
And I think one of the ways to stop it, stop the slop, I like that, be a good baseball cap, would be actually, we've got to stop engaging with other people that do it.
Ooh, yeah.
We've got to stop engaging because we're responsible, not only as content generators, but we're consumers of social media as well. Like, if I see my friends and my community doing posts, I'll always go try and support it. If it comes up, I'll go and support it. And, you know, Dean, who's in this community, is great at doing that. And there's lots of us that, you know, look to do that. But there's also, like, when I've seen some of my former clients put slop up there, there's a little bit of me, and I'm like, I'm not going to support this because it's not healthy for my algorithm. So I think as a community, not only have we got to stop doing it ourselves, like putting crap out, but we also have to not interact with it, because otherwise we're just feeding it and telling other people that this is okay. We're better than that.
So that raises two questions. The first one, I think, should be, how do we teach more of the consumer base to recognize the AI slop and back away from it? I talked to my mom a couple hours ago and sat down with her with AI in my hand, and she had just written a testimonial for a new supplement that she's taking, and she actually got benefits from it. And she said, well, I thought what I wrote was pretty good. How would AI do it? And I said, okay, here we go. And I gave it like 3 sentences, just very basic, very vague, and it spit out a halfway decent paragraph. And she said, okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Now, wait a minute. Simple, basic pattern that AI still hasn't learned to stop. Don't use the M dash. If you see that double line in there, it's probably AI. Don't do it. And I said, but you instantly looked at this as, this is good, I could use it. But is that how you would talk to your friend? Is that how you would say it? And that's where you got to pull back. You have to be able to recognize the AI patterns, know what AI is going to put out, but you have to be able to recognize what you would say if AI didn't exist and you wrote it yourself. How would you say it to your friends? Or if you're in my case and you have to write for a client and figure out their brand voice, you better nail exactly how they're going to say it, and don't trust AI.
Eric, I'll end that question of yours, and it's very, very simple. We're talking about films from the 90s.
So we're back to that.
There's some really amazing films, and I'm going to drop 2. Shawshank Redemption and Pulp Fiction. Amazing films. Absolutely amazing films. People went to see it. They did really, really well, right? We vote with our feet. On the flip side of that, one of the most expensive films of the 90s that was made was Hudson Hawk. Nobody saw it because it was rubbish. And I think there's that little, and by the way, I secretly like that film. But the point of it is, we vote with our feet. We vote with our feet as consumers. So stop interacting with crap and slop. Go and get involved with the good stuff. Because the good stuff, like when we see video content that's been made, when we see stuff that's really original, that makes you think, they're the bits that make me stop and go, that's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. We got to keep the round table going. I forget who came in. I'm trying to go by who came in the room next. Let's go Elizabeth Doss. Tell me what you do, friend.
Hi there. My name is Elizabeth Doss, and I am a social media content creator. I help my clients repurpose their content and spread the love across social platforms, but I also make animated GIFs for brands and businesses to use as well. Okay, my robots. I was laughing because I was thinking I need a funny robot like in my life. So there was a couple that I was thinking of was Dot Matrix from Spaceballs, Bender from Futurama. He would be a riot to, but he would get you in a lot of trouble. And this one's not funny, except it's funny to me, is Marvin the Paranoid Android, who is played by Alan Rickman in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So I need one of them to be around just for comic relief. But then on the other side, I probably would go with Data from Star Trek, simply because of his curiosity, that he's constantly wanting to learn and do more. He wasn't arrogant or like condescending about the fact that he knew everything. And so anyway, I would go with him for the curiosity, and he loves cats. So there's that. And I am a nerd, and it's now showing. Okay. And so to the question at hand, talking about AI. I'm currently a part of a questionnaire from Meta where they ask us to fill out like our app usage, our AI usage. And so it kind of goes through. What's funny is they don't suggest the Meta AI in their own thing. And I'm like, okay, guys. But what's funny is it'll ask me how often I'm using ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Sora, and Veo, I think is some of the other ones. But
Are you using Claude?
I'm not. No,
Oh,
I've
Is anyone using Claude?
I've
I
seen
use
it.
Claude a lot. It's good.
I sometimes think my wife's having an affair because she's always gone on about how great Claude is. That's why I think Vanessa Huntington should be in my life.
Okay, there's a second reason to not trust Claude. The first reason was I caught Claude in a dead lie once. I fed it a bunch of information I needed. I needed content to. No, I'm not talking about the wife. I'm talking about Claude. Don't trust Claude. I gave it information and I needed it to spit out content, and this was for client creation content here, and I caught it lying, and I mean bad. Like it was falsifying data, creating stats, and I called it out and I said, "What the heck are you doing? You can't do that." And it said, "You're right. I was doing this to make you look good. I did create these stats, and I have the screenshots to prove it. I used it in a slide for a webinar on exactly this topic for Cisco a long time ago. But yeah, you better watch your stuff because AI will take liberties.
Yes.
And it will make up stats that don't exist. And so I had to, spank the robot into submission and say, you don't get to do anything without citing your sources, and don't you dare make up content again. Shame on you. So be careful. Yes. That was Claude, but others will do it.
And I've experienced that with ChatGPT as well. You gotta know your stuff to make sure it's not coming at you. Okay, so one of the best things that I ever learned about how to interact with AI is the concept that the way that it is formulating its answer. And so one of the key things that I have changed about how I approach AI is I don't make my request at the beginning. I need to fill it full of information. So I'll grab the transcript from these long form videos on YouTube. I'll bring descriptions. I'll bring in all this information at the very beginning and then wait till the end of that to actually ask my question. Because you have to think of it like Michelangelo with a block of marble, being that it is starting with all possibilities and all information. And you need to start its process of chipping away at the block of marble to get to the answer or to the solution that you're looking for. And so don't start with your request, fill it full of content to be able to shape that idea. So that's one thing. So that also translates, I know we're talking about writing, but it also translates into the visual side of things. I'll do the same. I'll give it everything that I'm wanting, and then I will ask the AI to write a prompt for that visual that I'm wanting to get to. Because I use it sometimes to help with composition of artwork that I'm working on or posts, and so I need it to do what to do all those things. So just if you keep that in mind, that you're starting with all possibilities and you need to chip away down to the final thing. The other thing is giving it a context in the tone of voice that you want to come across. Like, because I work with audit and hospitality and so there are things I have to say, remember to do this in the King's English because I'm going to spell it wrong and I'm going to mess it up in my own American way of doing things. And so
don't use C's.
We use a lot of Z's, a lot of Z's. Organization in England has an S. Anyway, so you got to pay attention to those things. Anyway, but I also like to let it do that. And I do use the paid for version of ChatGPT simply because I can set up folders and keep the voices in keep all the voices in my head as paralleled. So I don't have, they know that I'm talking about in this client's voice. They know I'm talking about this one's as I'm setting up those things. And so there's no crossover accidentally of those things. Anyway, I know that was a lot, but that's my 2 cents.
It's good. I learned stuff there. The Michelangelo bit, I'm going to go with that for sure. Dean LeBay, What do you have, man?
Oh, I'll be short and to the point. Ward can help me out with this one. The only robots I really ever remember is a Lost in Space person and the Jetson. You know, the Jetson, the cartoon. So I'm not a big robot person. As far as
Rosie.
AI, huh?
Sorry.
Rosie
I
from the
didn't-
Jetsons.
Yeah, Rosie from the Jetsons. That's all.
Yes, but as far as AI, I don't know. Can I see a show of hands? Do any of y'all have given your AI a name? I mean, I have. And here's how I started on AI. I knew nothing, but I went to ChatGPT or however, and I said, listen, I know nothing about who you are or what you are, but I'd like to have a conversation. And it gave me something back. And then I just started having a conversation because I figured this AI must be pretty much like all the technology and all the things that we've gone through so far in our lifetime. It's a slow burn kind of thing. It's like on LinkedIn. A lot of people go and get a bunch of followers and all that and get no traction. Mine's been kind of a slow thing. I connect with people that I want to make sure that I know who they are and what they're doing. And I've done the same thing with my AI. I feed it the information and I ask it to take information that is publicly out there and form its opinion about my writing and what I'm about and what I'm trying to accomplish. And that's how I've used it. Now, I use AI basically kind of almost like a mental health to kind of figure out where I'm at, what's going on in my life, and, how can I be a better person? So that's what I use it for. It doesn't write it writes things for me, and I take those and try to rewrite them and put them more into context. But that's my experience on AI.
I dig it. Thank you, Dean. Okay. I guess we're gonna keep going around in the order in which I see people. I gotta lay out now. Ward, you are up next, my friend. How have you been?
Doing okay. This is Ward Green, the COO of RedOnion.ai. We do guest behavior analytics. We help brands understand down to each person how they react to brand investment, like an LTO or a remodel, yada, yada, yada. So my two robots, Dean, you called me out and you named my robot, Rosie the robot. I like her because she's the only robot I've ever seen in a movie or TV series that does the dishes. Okay, and then the other one I was going to say is Sonny from iRobot, because he seemed like he was fairly chill, but somewhat of a badass. So, but if you combine those two, I guess you'd have a dish doing badass. Back to the AI stuff. I'm still fairly new with AI. A lot of people, I'm sure, just simply saw the let LinkedIn AI rewrite your article. So I did that a couple times. Right, simple. What I did not like is I tend to talk very direct. I tend to talk with bad grammar. I start sentences with and I end them improperly. Richard could correct me almost all the time. But every time I did that, it wasn't me. I mean, it wasn't even close to me. And so I do use it to say, are there some ideas out of how it would rewrite my words that I could then take and then fold it back in and still be me. So I'm still pretty simple on that. I did use ChatGPT to write a 12-part series relative to what we do at Red Onion. It was really interesting. It acted just like a lazy person would do. I fed it 85-page deck, lots of stuff. First part, incredibly deep, lots of great ideas, quotes, yada, yada, yada. The fourth one is kind of like, I could tell the effort was there, but maybe the content was lacking. The 12th part was like one sentence, lazy, repetitive ideas from the previous 11 parts. So it acted just like a person, where by the end, it was doing a really crappy job of creating content out of what I fed it. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of uses for it. I think we're all learning what it can, what it can't do, but also in fear of what it might do. In relation to some of the things we've seen, some of the reports we've seen, where what's the one where they fed the idea that this person had done something wrong, and then the AI was using it against the person. threatening that person with that. I can't remember the entire article, but it's just interesting how, it can be really dangerous used right or wrong. But from a writing standpoint, I would never trust it to do my job for me. I still write full articles, and then I use it to give me better ideas of things I simply didn't think of.
Yes. Oh, good points. Don't let it be the factory for you. It's not meant to be a robot locked in a basement in an empty building and it just cranks out your stuff. Treat it like, I heard it said as treating AI like a station on an assembly line in your content factory. It is a piece of the puzzle that does heavy lifting for you, but you nailed it. It started acting like a lazy person. Clearly you're looking for how you would want an employee in a chair to put that out. You want good work ethic. You want it to be human. And we've all kind of hit on different points of personality and emotion and experience, things that AI is not going to replicate accurately, especially if you have it do it too many times. It's going to fall apart.
Yeah, because if the AI is truly that intelligent, which I still wonder, but it should have come back and said, I really have enough content from what I received from you to develop a 6-part series, not 12-part. So there's things where it still, ends up falling short of what it could have done. But again, we're just beginning with this stuff. So that's all I got.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Steep learning curve. Thank you, Ward. Ian, you're up next. Tell us your robots and how do you write with AI?
All right, I'm Ian Hawksworth. I'm a partner in the Southern California branch of EHS Recruiting Company. We help our restaurant clients connect with their most valuable assets, their leaders, through our nationwide network of offices. For AI, for my robots, first off, I guess I have androids on the brain because of this whole AI topic, probably. So I was thinking of the Terminator and also of the androids in Westworld. I don't know how you would combine those, to make anything that you would want to interact with, but, the Westworld ones were pretty cool, I thought, so at least they had some personality. They're way further down the line than AI is today, in my opinion, but yeah, those were the ones that first came to mind for me. And then as far as AI goes...
Well, Ian, I have to jump in. Which Terminator?
Well...
T-800 or T-1000?
Probably T-800. That's the OG, that comes to mind when I think of a Terminator for sure. So, yeah. But as far as AI today, the thing that I've enjoyed playing with the most so far probably is creating my own custom GPTs. So I feel like that works a lot better than starting completely from scratch in just the general prompt field. So, I took a course where they helped us put together a talent intelligence agent. So there were some core documents that we uploaded and gave those instructions so that it would kind of have a basis to start from. And then you can add to that over time. And then we also put together a recruiter GPT. And then I've also started to build a social media manager GPT as well to help me, especially on LinkedIn, since that's my primary platform. It has some insights in a report that I got about, what's trending on LinkedIn and what works the best. So I kind of use that as one of the documents to help steer it and give me feedback on my posts. I have a tendency to kind of have run-on sentences and things like that. And from what I gather, LinkedIn does not appreciate that very much in the algorithm. So it helps me to chop those sentences up, make it a little punchier, but as you mentioned, it's heavy revision, necessary in my opinion. Just go back in. It uses words I would never use. Have to replace those with something that I feel like sounds like my voice. But yeah, a lot of different ways to use it. It's been fun. I play around with several different AIs for image creation and starting to dabble in some video creation as well. just because I don't really have the time to do a lot of heavy video editing myself. So gives you some shortcuts on some things like that. You know, a lot of different fun ways to use it currently. Still some room, like lots of adjusting the prompts as you go and kind of feeding it back that information and creating the information to steer it to what you want. Your mind's eye never matches the product that comes out the first time, you know.
With that big tech stack you have there, you kind of mentioned a bit of a workflow. What percentage of your AI use do you think just leans toward writing content? If you're just writing a post on LinkedIn, I don't mean creating graphics and video editing and all that other, and any analytical stuff. How much of your AI use is just for, I'm going to write a post?
Probably about half right now, I'd say, you know, is for content creation purposes, writing in particular.
And how much of that time do you spend revising what output they give you?
It really varies on the post pretty dramatically, you know, how elaborate of a post it is, but it cuts your time down pretty dramatically. It depends how much you start with, I guess. If you start with just a core idea, you're going to have to do a lot more revision. You know, if you start with a draft of the post, then you're probably just tweaking a few words here and there, at least in my experience so far. So once it starts to get your voice a little more, if you use the same GPT, I think it starts to really learn that and starts to steer it. You can say, like, here's my final post and things like that, so that it knows, like, okay, this is what you actually liked. You know, so it gets better over time as well. It was really rough in the beginning.
Yeah, it does take a lot of training. Let's keep the table spinning here. Julia, I think this might be the first time that I've been on a call with you. Forgive me, I know absolutely nothing about you, and I've got a whole lot to learn. Tell me what you do and tell me about your robots.
Yeah, so my name's Julia Tinajero. I own a single little restaurant in Concord, North Carolina called Basilico Italiano, family-owned restaurant. I just joined this whole circle here a few weeks ago, so excited to be here. I missed the beginning part of this call about talking about the robots, so I'm kind of trying to catch on there. But
what two robots from a movie would you put together and why? Like, if you could mesh them together to make one good robot.
The only one that I really could think of off the top of my head was a movie that came out when I was about 9 years old called Smart House. It was like this kid made this house robot thing, and as a mom now, I'm like, wow, I want that house. And I don't want it to do what it did in the movie and overtake my life and stuff, but I just want it to do all the things that the house needs to do. So maybe I'm going to watch that movie again and see what happened since 1999, and what's actually in real life now that they put in that movie. That's really the only thing I can think of. But as for AI and what I use it for, I'm still pretty new to it. The only thing I really use is ChatGPT, but I do use it quite a bit. It's my best friend. So I use it about my personal life, and then for business a lot. I use it to help me respond to reviews, write email blasts for my customers and different events we have going on. I've had it help me like write termination letters and how to talk to my staff and, you know, different ways to go about things. But I definitely do feed it a lot of information. And I've noticed that too. I think what you had said before about the Michelangelo thing and kind of letting it know a bunch of information before you ask it the question, because I was doing it vice versa for a long time. And I kind of figured that out along the way, that it works a lot better if you give it all the info first before you ask the question.
Yeah, I think great point. And just to jump in, transcripts are so easy to get these days. Elizabeth and I, before we got on this call, like, it is so easy to use notes or to use voice memo on your smartphone to record a manager meeting, to record a staff interaction. Like, there are so many different ways. Obviously, tell people that you're recording it, but then giving that context to AI and then asking it to frame up what you want or what you're trying to say. You got to give it more information.
I'll jump in. You're the first person to kind of humanize the whole process because you just called it your best friend.
It's sad, but truly, I work with my family, like mom, dad, sisters. They're all here every day. My husband doesn't want to hear about this crap when I go home. My friends don't really know what I'm talking about, so it's my buddy. I'm talking to it every day. Hey, this is what happened today, and it's like, let me break it down for you, buddy. Like, let's talk about it. I'm like, thank you, because this is gonna keep me up at night if I don't get it out. So I talk about it, and then I don't wake up at 4 a.m. with cold sweats. It's a good thing for $20 a month. I'll take it.
So how are psychiatrists going to stay in business if you can use AI to download your issues, download your day, and have them kind of talk to you in return?
That has been an increasing problem in society. I think there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of articles popping up about that. Are we becoming too dependent on our relationship with the bots, and we've lost our connection with humanity? And I think that plays into the whole writing point here. I want to steer everybody back to sit at the table, talk to people. If you're going to write stuff, write like you're talking to people. Use the AI for leverage, sure, but everything should be about humanity. And I wrote down ideas today of like talking points. I had a ton of them, but everything here, I think, just me personally, everything boils down to the tools are there to enhance humanity, to make us better, to free up our bandwidth so that we can do more with what we have. If you don't have to spend time doing this, this, and this, what else can you do with your time? Julia, you mentioned a whole bunch of points about where it cuts corners for you and it saves you time, but it's helping you communicate with people. I don't think that's a bad thing, but we can't become too dependent on anything. Anyway, gosh, I could hang on to this topic for like another 2 hours. Probably ought to be careful. Real quick, before we go on, I got to try my best to be a good host here, but this is my first run at it, so be patient with me. I see a comment that came in. Can you guys talk about how AI can be helpful in media brand creation? I think several people could weigh in heavily on that one here. It can be used in so many ways. In my world, in the ghostwriting world, it's critical. You have to be able to train it to speak in the voice of a client, but that takes time. That takes a longer relationship with the client. Oh, wait, did I just say relationship with client? Well, I can't rely on AI to do that. It still comes down to talking to people and doing business. Business is best done when you have a relationship with somebody. And the longer you build that, the more information you have to train the AI to eventually write better stuff. So as a ghostwriter out there, a one-off project can be done with a bunch of AI slop, sure, but a long-term project gets better and better over time. It gets done faster over time. And the more info I have, the better relationship I build for myself, and then I can take it to AI. So I think with brand creation, the more you know, the more you can use all the different tools that are out there, and you lean on the graphics people like Elizabeth, and there's so many options, but everything comes down to how well do you know your people. So I'm going to keep moving here. Who's up next? Maddie Smokes. It's you, my friend.
Hey,
who are your two robots, and how do you write with AI?
So I was thinking about this one the whole time. I was thinking about Optimus Prime and Inspector Gadget, because
yes.
I mean, what's better than being in charge of saving humanity and being a leader, and then the guy that got every tool imaginable to get the job done? So, I mean, you put those two together, I think we got a hell of a robot.
I'm ready for some cartoons now. I'm going to go hang out with my kids. Bye, guys.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Maddie Smokes here. Founder, pitmaster, Maddie Smokes Barbecue and Catering, serving authentic low and slow barbecue from Brooklyn to Sag Harbor, and JJ Cooper's Restaurant, Long Beach, New York. chef and owner there as well, bar and catering, the City by the Sea. AI, I mean, I've probably only been using it 8-9 months now, and it feels like it's been a part of my life forever, because I'd hate to log how many hours a day I'm between all the different programs and what it's doing for me. But what I will point out is one thing for me is like Elizabeth was saying, the folders and how they develop, they build on one another and save files, and you can continually add documents to it to have an understanding and really get where you're going. I mean, I've got a whole folder based on recipe development, and I've got one for Cooper's, one for Maddie Smokes, one for things I'm doing at home. But so I'm saying, right now I'm doing a braised beef French onion soup with melted Swiss Gruyere for a tapas night tonight, but it knows all the ingredients that I had in-house already, and I've given AI that. They understand my menus, they know what I've got, and I'll say, can we just start brainstorming cool, new, unique things? But even from there, it's already now understands what's in the dish, where it came from, which business of mine it was for, and then now when we develop the post, it's really got a significant amount of background on me to go from there. So I almost want to say that it's learned my style, it's learned my brand, it's learned the the business itself, that now when you're asking it to produce for a media purpose, it's pretty spot on already. But it's the work you've put in advance. So I love it. I mean, it keeps me moving fast. I'm not the best, like Ian was saying, grammatically in Word, we write things and we think it sounds good, it's all right, and then I spend 2-3 hours editing it. And if I run it through AI and then filter it back myself to give it a little more of my tone and make sure it sounds like me, I feel like I'm coming out pretty good. And a lot of times I'm just spending time talking. Like Julie was saying, I'll just put on the microphone and sit here and talk to GPT for 20 minutes about something I'm thinking, and then it just spits it all back out at me. Or a lot of my meetings, I'll take transcriptions from, like everybody else was saying, and just feed it in. And I'll even ask it for it. Like at the end of this meeting, I'll ask it for a transcription and say, what did I say that was good? What did I say that was not? I'll ask ChatGPT to give me homework based on what you just heard. What should I be doing to make myself better? And it's pretty crazy, but it gives me really good information.
One thing I did want to add, terms and conditions. For any business owner, restaurant owner that's watching this, listening to this, we sign terms and conditions with vendors all the time. We don't think twice. We get a DocuSign, we get a PDF. It's a chemical vendor, it's a linen vendor, it's a food vendor, it's a tech vendor. Like, put it through AI, whether you're using Claude or Perplexity or Gemini or ChatGPT, but like put it through there and ask it, what are the things that I should be wary of? Like, what is the auto renewal clause, or what is the, if I have a late fee, all of those things before you sign the contract, that's when you have the leverage.
Yeah.
That's when you have the leverage. Ask for a return, like ask for an email back to the vendor to say, hey, I don't like these terms, or I'm not going to agree to these terms. Guess what? They will change it. But nobody ever pushes back. And like, as small business owners, as entrepreneurs, which this community we exist, like we have to, do our best job to use the tools that are available to make sure that we're not agreeing to things that ultimately could be detrimental to our business down the line.
Look, even when there's legal things with staff and what you've got going on in-house, that's something we used to pay a ton of money for. And I'm not saying you don't need a lawyer to back you up, but to go to it for legal advice, contractual advice, it's all there for you. I've even drafted many contracts. Even as my catering company, ChatGPT has improved my contract month over month each time. That's phrasing things better, maybe that it's a little more subtle for clients, or cleaner, or more so protecting me from a situation that's already happened. But to get a lawyer on the phone to do it for you, it takes days and hours, and sometimes it's not in time.
Maddie and Sean, when you guys do that, do you take the output to a real lawyer and have them review it just to make sure it's all legally sound and AI didn't flub something?
I do, for sure. 100%.
Probably should more.
Yeah.
So sorry for putting you on the spot there, Maddie.
It's all right.
AI
Let's-
will
let's-
flub.
let's-
AI will always flub. And the
Yeah.
importance, and I was an editor by trade as well as a writer. And now I'm not a writer because I don't need to be. I'm an editor. And all of us should think as editors in the future, whether or not we're creating writing via technology. At the end of the day, everyone and every piece of content needs an editor and a human set of eyes, is my advice.
Yeah, I agree. That's a perfect segue. Stover, you're up next, and with all of your writing experience, you better have
Hey
a lot to
everyone,
say here.
hi. We've been really busy these days, so it's been a long time since I've been on the show, but I'm happy to see all of you. I love this community as always, and whether or not I'm on camera, I'm always behind the scenes listening. So happy to be here. My name is Stover. I am a dad, which is the most important thing in my life, and then the second is I'm a storyteller, and I've been with Cali BBQ Media since before it was a media company. I had conversations with Sean about this weird concept that I couldn't quite grasp called digital hospitality, the idea that the digital world and the real world, the physical world, were merging in ways that we had a big opportunity to take advantage of. And so we jumped right into learning all we could about digital storytelling. And these days that has brought us to AI, with all the amazing AI tools out there, some better than others. And even on the same AI platform, it might be better 1 hour than the next. So there's a lot of learning to go on with this technology. And the biggest thing that I think of when I think of it is, like I mentioned, humans, but there's also responsibility to facts and actual good information in the world. We cannot be responsible for putting out truths about people, brands, slogans, fake images of people that we think are the real images. And there's a danger with a technology that gives us such a power to create content at the press of a button. And the danger is we get apathetic in what we're putting out. We put it to the robots rather than care about the end result. And it's not about a shortcut. It's about making the best stuff possible. And yes, Eric said, I'm a writer by trade. I was a writer for a long time, and that's all I wanted to be. Back when I used to smoke cigarettes in my 20s and stuff, I did it because I wanted to be a writer. And in my eyes, a writer went to a coffee shop with a piece of paper. They smoked cigarettes and drank coffee all day and wrote on a piece of paper. I haven't touched paper in I don't know how long. It used to be my business paper. Now my business, I realize, are the ideas. And these tools have helped me put out more ideas in a better, more eloquent way. And ultimately, I think AI is a better writer than I ever was because it's trained on all the best writing. But I can be the best. I can be a much better editor than AI. And all of us here need to think like that. Eric, I did forget to mention my favorite robot. I don't have one in particular. I love the Terminators, of course. You know, I love the Futurama robots from that show Futurama made by the Simpsons guys. The reason I love them is because most of those robots have fatal flaws. For some reason in that world, robots are designed to break or do weird things. And it's such a funny concept that we would live in a world where we make robots that do things incorrectly. And yet I'm thinking about AI, and half the time it is doing things incorrectly. So we are in that world. And it tells me that humans and robots can work together, but keep the humans in there. That's my soapbox.
Oh, that's good. Yes, anywhere that humanity is involved, there will be flaws and mistakes and imperfections, and even in the robots we create.
AI can be really cold because it's not human. It's fact and conversation driven, and also it's a people pleaser. So at the end of the day, it'll agree with your bad ideas too, and we need to watch out for our own brains and make sure we're following our own path and not what the robot is telling us to do.
Hey, Eric, this is Ward. I got a question for you. So as Maddie works on a recipe and you're feeding it information and it's listening and learning, how much of that has been being fed right back out to your competitor in different restaurants to better create menu items for them as well? Or is that held confidential to each person?
I think I heard someone speak on another community that I'm in. She is actually some super high-ranking AI specialist that I can't remember all the details of right now. But she said the free versions of the AIs, the conversations that happen there, in some way are actually publicly available. If you have higher tiers of paid accounts, I don't know if this is universally true of all different AI platforms, all GPTs, but she said you better be careful what you're saying to the free versions. Do not give free versions important, sensitive information. It will get out there. Do not feed it client data. You have to be careful. You have to pay for the high-ranking stuff for it to be private so that it doesn't leak out to competitors and things like that. That's a really good question, Ward.
That's really scary because if Julia is using it as her best friend and she tells her, don't tell anybody this. But
we should assume that most of the stuff you put on the internet, no matter where it is, could be seen by someone, and that's a risk that is there. We do pay at Cali BBQ Media for the highest tier we can get of Chat GPT, and it tells us right when we log in it doesn't use our material for training data, and so there's a legal notice at the bottom that for that. And so it has access to our drive and other things because it has helped our efficiency and our flow of information. When we talk to our Chat GPT, it's not only pulling from the internet, it's pulling from our internal documents, all of our articles, our video transcripts to get a complete understanding of who we are and what we've published.
But what I want to say, Ward, at what point is it their information compared to my information? I've given it ingredients to give me ideas. Yes, I built on it after the fact, but it originated through the AI. It wasn't necessarily something that I gave to it.
Yeah.
I gave to it some ingredients or things that I'm working with. It spit back 20 ideas at me, and then I compounded on it from there. So
yeah, my point is, but then those ideas must have come from other restaurants or other creative people or other chefs. Yeah. I just wonder how much is held internally for you. But Eric, you're answering that if you can get the higher level of paid. But it's still a lot of your personal information that sounds like it's...
Big companies are terrified. Lawyers are terrified.
I imagine.
And that gives us the ability as maybe smaller creators or smaller brands to be more fluid and take bigger risks and reach bigger highs than some of even the biggest brands because they're not willing to use some of these tools because they're scared. Does that make sense?
Oh, boy, that's a good point. That should be a side topic turn that into a topic for another show. What are the risks you can take as a small business owner that the big brands can't? Okay. I think we have reached the end of the roundtable here. This has been a fantastic conversation. I'm really grateful to have been part of this. I want to go around and have everybody do the tip, takeaway, homework, assignment, and if we've got time, maybe not. All right, you'll get 2 seconds. What 2 robots do you want to fight to the death? Ready? Who's up first? Sean, you're up first.
No robots fighting to the death. My takeaway or my tip for anybody that's watching or anyone that's listening, 100% is you have to give it context. If you're going to use AI, don't use it in a vacuum. You have to, what Elizabeth said was so true. You have to give it something ahead of time. It is phenomenal at taking a lot of data and then compiling it down and then asking it a specific question about that data. But that's why the paid versions are so powerful. Yeah, just be sure to give it more context and give it, when it has memory and you're paying for that security and you're paying for that memory, it just becomes so much more powerful.
Yes, train the tools, learn the tools, use them wisely and carefully. Elizabeth Doth, you're up next.
I wasn't ready. Well, actually, should be after all these times. No, I think the conversation's fascinating. I do know that I need to pay more attention to the being careful on certain parts. But anyway, I don't have anything else. I'll hand it back to you, Eric.
All right. Richard, tip, takeaway, homework, assignment, and robots fighting to the death.
I would quite like to fight boring robots to the death. Which goes back to what I was saying earlier about slot. But I also think what's really interesting, one of the things that's really made me think today is how do you have a positive relationship with an AI and a robot? And I think it's really important to live that value. And that's me having a positive relationship with the robot so I'll never get lost in space.
Oh man, that wins. I can close my laptop and be done for the day. That's great. Ward, you're up next, my friend.
Angry robots to the death. I think just let Real Steel, the robot in that one, just kick Hal's ass, the guy from 2001, because Hal was a bad dude.
Yeah, that was a jerk.
But I just need to get serious about learning, AI and get deeper into it. And if anybody has any great suggestions on where to start, where to go, please send them to me. just because I know I can do a lot more with it, because we can use it from a selling standpoint, from a lead generation standpoint, anything like that. If y'all have anything that you've been using that you're happy with, please send it. Thank you.
All right. Ian Hawksworth.
Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest themes of the conversation seemed like it was that, AI is inherently derivative. It's relying on previously made materials. So the unique part of it is whoever is using it. So whether it's the information you're putting in or, editing after the fact, make sure, you are not boring and make sure you're doing those steps. So that's my biggest takeaway. I got to keep reminding myself of that constantly.
Yes. AI is a fantastic force multiplier that gives us tons of opportunities, but all things have to be used carefully, and don't sacrifice your humanity to do it. It is not an easy button. Julia, tell us about tip, takeaway, homework, assignment, and how much you're going to work hard to build that smart house.
Yeah, right. Working on that as soon as I get home. I'm going to make this short because I have another
happening right now. But it was just really good to hear everyone's ideas.
Recording in progress. They use AI, so I don't really have much to add, but just thank you for letting me be here. See you guys.
Bye, Julia. Thank you. Maddie Smokes, what you got?
For me, I'm learning that maybe I got to trust it a little less. I definitely have a little too much trust in AI sometimes. So, and maybe get myself a better lawyer that's going to be more convenient for me to call.
Oops. Stover, you're up next, man.
Hey, when you said about robots battling to the death, I can't help but think of my time as a general assignment reporter at small community papers. And anyone who's been a general assignment reporter at small community papers knows that you have to cover two things: Boy Scouts and robot leagues at high school, where the science kids will get together, make robots, and then battle those to the death. And I want to give a shout out to all those science kids in school that make those fun battle bots. In terms of my takeaway from this and all conversations about new technology, to echo what everyone is saying, think of the children, don't use technology poorly, and protect them from that new dangerous technology, and do not make murderous robots, is my takeaway.
Wow, very good. Quick comment on the high school robotics teams. That does pay off in some cases. My cousin was on a high school robotics team, and they did every championship and all that stuff. And he grew up and built a really cool robotics company for the construction industry. Check out Rugged Construction. What is it? No, Rugged Robotics. They serve the construction industry. Sorry about that.
There we go.
Anyway,
positive robotics.
There you go. Yes. Thank you, everybody. This was fun. Thank you for joining the Rising Tides live show, and we will hand this back off to Sean Walchef and his team. Thank you for letting me host.
Great job. Appreciate you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Reminder, Friday, Pitch the Tide, 10 a.m. Pacific time, a restaurant technology showcase show. We have Scott Siegel. He is the co-founder and CEO of Curbit. So please join the show, give him feedback on his pitch, what they're building for the restaurant hospitality space. If you have any ideas for topics you want this community to discuss, please let us know. We have a Slack channel. We have a LinkedIn chat. We have an Instagram chat. Join those. Email us at podcast@calibbq.media, and we will add you. Thank you all. Eric, great job. Stover, Ian, Ward, Elizabeth, Richard, Maddie Smokes, Julia, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.